Good morning, dear students. Today we can go through elimination reaction, the definition for elimination reaction, and also some of the different types of elimination reactions. And also see, elimination reaction means it is a removal of a group of atom or an atom. It is a removal of an atom or a group of atoms. Removal of an atom or group of atoms. And also, while the removal takes place, what happens is that a multiple bond will be formed. So 2 points you have to keep in mind. During the removal of an atom or a group of atoms from a molecule, there will be a multiple bond. Multiple bond, it can be a double bond or it can be a triple bond. Okay, for example, C double bond, C bonds will be formed. Then C triple bond C, then C triple bond N, or C double bond O. So these type of bonds will be formed during an elimination reaction. So these are all examples for a multiple bond. Okay, this is an alkene, this is an alkyne, YNE, this is ENE, and this is a cyanide group. Cyanide, this is carbonyl group or keto group. Okay. So while considering the elimination reaction, see here what happens is that elimination will be taking place, and as a result, say for example, I will be writing one example, CH3, CH2, CH2, Cl. How many carbon atoms are here? 3 carbon atoms, 1, 2, 3, isn't it? So 3 carbon atoms are present in this particular compound, and this compound is simply propyl chloride. Since 3 carbon atoms, it is so propyl chloride. So here for elimination, the reagent used is alcoholic KOH. Okay, the reagent used is alcoholic KOH, and also here say elimination will be taking place from the first carbon atom and the second carbon atom. Okay, so from the first carbon atom, one chlorine atom will be eliminated, and from the second carbon atom, see already 2 hydrogen atoms are present. From the 2 hydrogens, 1 hydrogen will be eliminated. Okay, so from the first carbon atom, 1 chlorine, and from the second carbon atom, 1 hydrogen will be eliminated. That means there will be elimination of HCl, isn't it? So these 2 groups will be eliminated. One of the chlorine atom and one of the hydrogen atom. Okay. So what happens? The product will be CH3, CH, then here what happens, here one valency is free for this carbon atom, and for this carbon atom also, while chlorine is removed, one valency will be free. So both this will be, between these 2 carbon atoms, a bond will be formed. Okay, so already there is a sigma bond present. Then what happens after the elimination? One more bond will be coming there, that is a pi bond. So the bond will be CH3, CH, double bond, CH2. So a double bonded compound will be formed from an alkyl halide, isn't it? So this compound is propene. 1 propene. 1 propene. Okay. CH3, CH double bond, CH2. So this is an example for an elimination reaction. See here, the eliminated groups will be 1 H plus, isn't it? 1 H plus and 1 Cl minus, isn't it? And also this H plus means it is an electrophile. It is a positively charged species along with a nucleophile, isn't it? So a double bond will be formed. And also, so this is a particular suitable example for an elimination reaction. Now we can move on to the different types of elimination reactions. See here you have to study 2 types of elimination reactions. The first one, that is the unimolecular elimination reaction. Unimolecular elimination reaction. And the second one, that is the bimolecular elimination reaction. Unimolecular and bimolecular elimination reactions. Okay. So again we can go through the examples. The first one, see in the first case, unimolecular elimination, just as we have studied in nucleophilic substitution reactions, unimolecular nucleophilic SN1 and SN2, isn't it? And also in between, I forgot to tell you one more thing. See here in this example, see the elimination will be taking place from the first and the second carbon atom, isn't it? So here we can name this carbon, the first carbon as the alpha carbon, since it is attached to a functional group. The carbon in which the functional group is attached, that carbon it is called as the alpha carbon. Then the next neighboring carbon atom will be the beta carbon, and the third carbon will be the gamma carbon. Okay, so this is how we are naming. I think you have studied in the IUPAC nomenclature. So this is the alpha carbon atom. That means the carbon atom to which the functional group is attached. So this is the alpha, and this is the beta carbon, and this is the gamma carbon. So for the time being, you have to consider this alpha carbon as well as the beta carbon atom. Okay. So here elimination is taking place from the alpha carbon, that is chlorine atom is eliminated from alpha carbon and hydrogen is eliminated from the beta carbon, isn't it? Or or simply we can say that it is a beta elimination or 1-2 elimination. It's a beta elimination or 1-2 elimination. That means 1-2 means it is the numbering of the carbon atom. From 1 and 2 elimination takes place, or it is otherwise called as beta elimination. So we can say that if the elimination is taking place from the adjacent carbon atoms, okay, if the elimination is taking place from the neighboring carbon atoms or from the two adjacent carbon atoms, from the alpha and the beta carbon, or from 1 and 2 carbon atoms, we can call it as beta elimination. Okay, so this is an example for beta elimination. Then one more thing is there, that is the alpha elimination. Then what about alpha elimination? Alpha elimination will be 1-1 elimination. 1-1 elimination means the elimination, the atoms, the two atoms will be eliminated from one particular carbon atom itself. Okay, from a single carbon atom itself, the elimination will be taking place. Then we can call it as the alpha elimination or 1-1 elimination. And also normally, say for example, I'll be writing one example for this alpha elimination. For example, elimination from this chloroform. Chloroform. Alpha elimination. Example. This is the example for beta elimination. Okay. So alpha elimination example. See, when chloroform, the formula for chloroform is CHCl3. When chloroform is treated with a strong alkali. When chloroform is treated with a strong alkali, in the first step an intermediate will be formed. A carbene intermediate will be formed. You have studied about carbene intermediate. It is a highly unstable species. And a carbene intermediate will be formed, and in the second step a carbene intermediate will be formed during this alpha elimination. Okay, so let us write the reaction. For example, chloroform CHCl3 plus a strong alkali, let it be sodium hydroxide or it can be potassium hydroxide. So I am writing the species, ionic species or the nucleophile only, plus OH minus. So this is a reversible reaction. So in the first step what happens is that this OH minus will be abstracting a proton from this chloroform. Okay, so the proton from this chloroform means this hydrogen atom. Okay, so this hydrogen will be eliminated as a proton and it will be abstracted by OH minus and will be removed as a water molecule. Okay, H plus plus OH minus, it will be eliminated as water molecule. So what will be the remaining? So this proton is eliminated as H plus. So the electron pair will be retained at this particular carbon atom itself, and also this carbon atom will be getting a negative charge. Okay, so it becomes CCl3 with lone pair of electrons, isn't it? Plus water, H plus will be eliminated as water molecule. Okay, then in the next step, this CCl3 minus, again one Cl minus will be eliminated from this species. Okay, this is trichlorocarbene. So from this species, it is carbanion. It is a negative charged species, not carbene. This is trichlorocarbanion. So from this species, one Cl minus will be eliminated. So again, it becomes CCl2 with a lone pair of electron plus Cl minus. Okay, so here we can see that from a particular compound itself, one hydrogen and one Cl minus will be eliminated. Okay, from a single carbon atom, or this there will be only one carbon atom in this chloroform, and from this particular carbon atom, it is alpha carbon atom also. So from this carbon atom itself, what happens? This H plus and Cl minus will be eliminated. Okay, so this is an example for alpha elimination or 1-1 elimination. Alpha elimination or 1-1 elimination. This is an example for beta elimination or 1-2 elimination. So here this is the alpha carbon atom. Alpha carbon atom. Okay, hope you are clear with this alpha elimination and beta elimination, and also you have to study the mechanisms and also different products formed as a result of this beta and alpha eliminations in your PG classes. Okay, and also one more point to be noted down is that commonly beta elimination will be happening, usually not alpha elimination. Okay, so commonly we are seeing this beta elimination reactions, that is the most commonly occurring reaction. Okay. So next we can go through this classification, unimolecular as well as bimolecular reactions. First case, unimolecular elimination reactions. Unimolecular elimination reactions. See here, I'll be writing the reaction. See here. Similar to the case of SN1. SN1 there is a nucleophilic substitution reaction, but you have studied that in SN1 the rate of the reaction depends only on the concentration of the substrate, isn't it? And also hence it is a unimolecular reaction, since it depends, the rate depends only on the concentration of the substrate. Okay, and also this SN1 reaction, it is a two-step process. It's a two-step process. Okay, so these points you have to keep in mind in the case of SN1. And also the major difference is that between SN1 and the elimination reaction means SN1 is a nucleophilic substitution reaction. Elimination means it is the removal of an atom or a group of atoms. And also in some factors, both SN1 and elimination reactions are having similar characteristics. That is, in the case of elimination reactions, the rate of the elimination reaction, it depends on the concentration of the substrate. Okay, so you have to keep these points also in your mind. So the rate depends on the concentration of the substrate and not on the concentration of the nucleophile which is attacking. And also this elimination reaction, normally it is designated by E1. Unimolecular elimination, that means it is E1. Unimolecular elimination reactions. And also here the rate of the reaction, the reaction will be carried out in two steps, similar to SN1 reaction. In E1 also it is a two-step process. See, suppose consider this particular reaction, CH3C, CH3, CH3X in presence of alcoholic AOH. In presence of alcoholic AOH. So here one hydrogen atom and one halogen atom will be eliminated, and also the elimination takes place from two adjacent carbon atoms. Okay, so let it be this carbon atom 1 and this carbon atom 2, or let it be this carbon alpha or this carbon beta. Okay, so elimination will be taking place from the first and the second carbon atom, and from the first carbon atom one halogen will be eliminated, and from the second carbon atom one hydrogen will be eliminated. I am splitting this H3 as CH2H. Okay, so that you will be clear about the elimination. So one HX will be eliminated, and also the elimination is beta elimination or 1-2 elimination. Okay, the elimination from the adjacent carbon atoms, halogen atom from first carbon atom and hydrogen atom from the second carbon atom. Okay, so elimination of HX, hydrogen halide, or HCl or HBr, whatever it might be. So the answer will be CH3, CCH3. What happens here? It becomes a double bond, isn't it? This carbon will got one free valency and this carbon will be having one free valency. So both of them together join together to form a double bond. Okay, so CH3, C, CH3, then this one, double bond CH2. Okay, So what is this compound? So while writing as a straight chain, what happens? Or it can be written like this: CH3, C, CH3, double bond, CH2. Both are same, isn't it? I'm just shifting the position of the CH2 group. So this is a straight chain compound. So this is propene, and also there is a substitution at the second position. This is first one, second carbon atom, third carbon atom. So at the second carbon atom, there is a substitution by methyl group. So the compound is 2-methyl propene. 2-methyl propene. Okay. Then the next we can go through the mechanism of this particular reaction. Mechanism. So this is also similar to the SN1 reaction. In SN1 reaction also, the first step is the ionization of the species to form a carbocation, isn't it? Here also similar, CH3 thrice CX, isn't it? That is the compound we had already written. So it will be ionizing. So this is a slow step. This will be ionizing to CH3 thrice C plus X minus, a simple reaction. Okay, ionization to form a tertiary butyl carbocation. Tertiary butyl carbocation. Okay, so what is the next step? So first step is formation of carbocation. First step is formation of carbocation, and the second step is that the formation of an alkene or product formation. Okay, formation of alkene. So here what happens is that this tertiary butyl carbocation CH3 thrice C plus, I am writing it like this, CH3 thrice C plus. So here this CH3 I am writing it as CH2H. Okay, CH2H. So in the second step what happens, the strong alkali is used here. This OH minus will be abstracting a proton from this carbocation. Okay, OH minus will be abstracting a proton from this carbocation and HOH will be eliminated. Okay, so what happens, the product will be minus H2O, this will be eliminated as water. This H plus and OH minus will be eliminated as water. So here what happens, CH3, CH3, here a double bond, the CH2 will be getting a negative charge after this proton will be eliminated, proton is eliminated. So CH2 plus, minus and C plus, that means there will be a bond formation, CH3, C, double bond CH2, single bond CH3. So I'll be writing it in a straight chain. Okay, CCH3, double bond CH2. Okay, so this is 2-methyl propene, that already we had written, 2-methyl propene. Okay, so these are the two steps involved in E1 elimination. So this is similar to, the mechanism is almost similar to SN1 reaction, but in SN1 there is a nucleophilic substitution. Here elimination is taking place. Okay, so in both SN1 and E1 the reaction will be taking place in two steps. So next we can go through bimolecular elimination reactions. The second one, bimolecular elimination reactions. Bimolecular elimination reactions. See, in the case of bimolecular elimination reaction, you have to keep in mind the various factors of SN2 reaction. In the case of SN2 reaction, the rate of the reaction will be depending upon the concentration of the substrate as well as the nucleophile, isn't it? So it is therefore we can say that it is a bimolecular reaction. We had already seen all these. It's a bimolecular reaction, and also the third major characteristic feature of SN2 is that the reaction SN2, in the case of SN2 reaction, it is a single step reaction or a transition state is formed, isn't it? A single step reaction with a transition state. A single step reaction with a transition state. Here also, these are some of the common factors which we can see in this bimolecular elimination reactions also. Okay, so in the case of bimolecular elimination reactions, the rate depends upon the concentration of the substrate as well as the concentration of the nucleophile. The rate depends upon concentration of the substrate as well as the nucleophile. Therefore, it will be depending upon these two species, isn't it? Substrate as well as the nucleophile. Then, therefore, we can call it as a bimolecular substitution reaction. Bimolecular substitution reaction and elimination reaction, and therefore it is denoted by E2. Okay, E2. So 2 represents it is bimolecular. Okay. Here also a transition state is formed in between, just like SN2. Okay, so while studying you have to compare these two. So here also a transition state is formed in between. Then we can go through the example for a bimolecular elimination reaction, and the example is dehydrohalogenation of alkyl halide. Dehydrohalogenation of alkyl halide. What do you mean by dehydrohalogenation? The term D means the term means removal. So it will be removal of hydro. Hydro means it is hydrogen. Then halogen. Okay, hydrogen and halogen. So removal of hydrogen and halogen. That is what the term intends. Dehydrohalogenation of alkyl halides. So let us write the example. So here alkyl halide, here we are writing a primary alkyl halide. The reaction will be taking place in a primary alkyl halide. So let us write a primary alkyl halide, CH3, then CH2, X. This is an alkyl halide, X, or we can write it as Cl. Okay. CH3, CH2, Cl, ethyl chloride. So to this species, an OH minus is attacking. Okay. OH minus in presence of a strong alkali, the reaction will be taking place. So what happens is that while this OH minus is approaching to this species, what happens? It will be abstracting a proton from this position. So what happens? This electron pair will be shifting to this position. And again, this electron pair will be shifting to this atom. Okay, this is how the electron shifting or the bond shifting will be taking place. See, while this OH minus, it is a negatively charged species or it is having a high electron density. So while this species attacks this H plus, what happens? This electron pair will be moving to the next position. Okay, the substrate, it should have to maintain an equilibrium state, isn't it? So for maintaining an equilibrium or for maintaining a stable configuration, what happens? The electron pair will be shifting to this position. Then what happens here? There will be more electron density at this carbon atom. So in order to neutralize that, this electron pair will be shifting to this chlorine atom. So this chlorine will be eliminated as Cl minus. Okay. So here also a transition state is formed, that is a bond making process will be going on here, and a bond breaking process here. Then again here a partial bond formation, here a partial bond here a partial bond breaking. Okay, so that we can represent using dotted lines. So OH, then a partial bond with hydrogen atom, then here this bond will be breaking, isn't it? So it is also a partial bond breaking. Then again H, then here already a sigma bond is present, then a partial bond making, a pi bond making process, then C, H, then again here a partial bond breaking with C, Cl. Okay, so this is the transition state. Okay, This is the transition state. And again, see here, this is a slow step. And again, the next step is a fast step. And also what happens, this H plus will be eliminated as water molecule, or this H plus will be abstracted by this OH minus, and water molecule will be eliminated. Then what about the next case? Cl minus will be eliminated. Here a double bond will be formed. So it becomes CH2 double bond CH2. Okay, so the major product will be CH2 double bond CH2 plus water molecule plus Cl minus. Okay, so this is the elimination reaction or dehydrohalogenation. I think there is no need of saying it once more. You can just rewind the video. Okay, so this is the process taking place, and here it is a transition state, and the final product is alkene or ethylene, ethylene or ethene. It's a double bonded compound. And also one more thing to be noted down is that, see here, this OH minus, it is the approaching group, and Cl minus, that is the leaving group, isn't it? So this OH minus, this approaching group, it is approaching this substrate, or it is attacking the substrate to the side just opposite to that of this Cl minus, isn't it? Just opposite to that of the chlorine atom, or from the back side of this chlorine atom, this OH minus is attacking. Or we can say that the attack of OH minus, it is from the transposition. Okay, the attack is taking place from the transposition, or OH minus, it is joining at the transposition of this alkyl halide. So we can say that this type of elimination, that is trans-elimination, this elimination reaction, we can call it as a trans-elimination reaction. Okay, see here both OH and Cl, they are transpositions. They are at transpositions with respect to each other. Okay, OH and Cl, they are at transpositions to each other. Therefore, it is called as trans-elimination reaction. OH and Cl are at transpositions to each other. Okay. Then the next is, see here we have seen, we have got the product obtained, it is a symmetrical alkene, isn't it? But there will be some differences, or there will be some confusions while we are writing the product as an unsymmetrical alkene. Unsymmetrical alkene means, suppose for example this particular compound CH3 CH2 double CH3 CH double bond CH2. This is an unsymmetrical alkene. That means while we are taking the half at this position double bond, if we are taking as two halves, it is not symmetrical, isn't it? On the right side of the double bond, there is only one carbon. On the left side of the double bond, there will be two carbons. So therefore, we can say that this is an unsymmetrical alkene. Okay, so for such type of products, there will be some confusions arising, and therefore two rules are there for elimination reactions. Okay, so while writing the products in the case of an unsymmetrical substrate, there will be two simple rules are there, and the rules, the first rule, it is called as the Zaitsev rule, and the second rule, that is the Hofmann's rule. What are they? They are the Zaitsev's rule and Hofmann's rule. You might have studied in your +2 classes sometimes. The first rule, that is the Zaitsev rule. Saytzeff, Zaitsev rule. And the second one, that is the Hofmann's rule. Hoffmann. Hofmann's rule. 2F and 2N. Okay. These are the two rules which are being followed in the elimination reaction, Zaitsev and Hofmann's rule. And also this Zaitsev rule, it will be dealing with neutral substrates. Zaitsev rule will be dealing with neutral substrates, and the Hofmann's rule will be used in, or will be applied in, charged substrates. Okay, Zaitsev rule we can apply neutral substrate. Neutral substrate means there will not be any charges, plus or minus charges. And in the case of Hoffman's rule, they can be applied in charged substrates. That means there will be the substrates will be having some positive or negative charges. Okay, so let us go through the first one, that is the Zaitsev rule. First of all, I will be writing the rule, and the statement is very, very important. The neutral substrates in elimination reaction, predominantly yield most substituted alkenes. Okay, the most substituted alkenes means the one carrying larger number of alkyl groups. Most substituted alkenes means the one carrying the largest number of alkyl substituents. The one carrying the largest number of alkyl substituents, that is called as the most substituted alkene. So Zaitsev rule means in elimination reactions, the product will be the most substituted alkenes. So I'll be giving you one example, that is dehydrohalogenation of 2-bromobutene. Dehydrohalogenation of 2-bromobutene. 2-bromobutane. Dehydrohalogenation of 2-bromobutane. See, 2-bromobutane. Butane means it will be having 4 carbon atoms, isn't it? CH3, CH2, CH3Br. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this is the second carbon atom. At the second carbon atom, one bromine atom is attached. So CH3, CH2, CHBr, CH3. See here, dehydrohalogenation takes place. So here you can see this hydrogen atom, elimination of a hydrogen and bromine atom will be taking place. And the hydrogen atom, it can be eliminated from the first carbon, and a bromine atom can be eliminated. So like this, if we are eliminating, suppose I am writing it as CH2H. So from this carbon atom, one HBr can be eliminated, or from the third carbon atom, one hydrogen and Br can be eliminated, isn't it? 2 chances are there for elimination. That is, from 1 and 2 carbon atoms, one HBr can be eliminated, and from 3 and 2 carbon atoms, we can eliminate one HBr, isn't it? 2 chances are there. So here we are applying this Zaitsev rule. That is, Zaitsev's rule means it is applied to neutral substrates. This is a neutral substrate which is not having any charges. So in this particular substrate, the product will be the most substituted alkene. So I am writing the products in these 2 cases. Suppose if I am eliminating from the first carbon atom and the second carbon atom, that is HBr will be eliminated. Okay, elimination takes place like this. What happens? The product will be CH2 double bond, CH single bond, CH2, CH3, isn't it? Here HBr will be eliminated and double bond will be coming at this position. So CH3, CH2, single bond, CH, here elimination takes place, a double bond, CH2. Okay, this is one product. Okay, plus one more product, that is the second chance is that elimination can take place from this particular carbon atom. I am writing it in red ink. Say suppose from this position, from the third carbon atom, hydrogen is eliminated, and from the second carbon atom, bromine is eliminated. Okay, so like this, HBr can be eliminated. This is the second chance which I had written in this red ink. Okay, the other one in blue ink. So what will be the product? It will be CH3 single bond, CH double bond CH, single bond CH3. Okay, so the second product will be CH3, CH, here double bond CH, then single bond CH3. Okay, so this compound is Haveli number 1, 2, 3, 4. So this compound is 1-propene. At the first carbon atom, a double bond. So it is 1-propene. And what about this compound 1, 2, 3, 4? This compound is 2-propene. At the second carbon atom, a double bond. Okay. So what about the rule? For neutral substrates, the most substituted alkenes will be the product. So most substituted alkenes, or the one carrying largest number of alkyl substituents, means it is 2-propene, isn't it? Across the double bond, here 2 carbon atoms, here also 2 carbon atoms. But at this position, it is having a least substitution, isn't it? This is an unsymmetrical alkene and also 3 alkyl groups. It will be like this, and on the right side there will be no substituents. But so according to Zaitsev's rule, the major product will be 2-propene. That means 71% of the product will be 2-propene. Only 29% will be 1-propene. Okay, that is the major product will be 2-propene and the minor product will be this 1-propene. 71% 2-propene. Therefore, we can call it as the Zaitsev product. Zaitsev product, that is the major product while we are doing this reaction, will be 2-propene. Okay, so this is the Zaitsev's rule, that is neutral substrates will yield most substituted alkene. So while you are given a particular compound, you have to write the 2 products and then you have to go through the 2 products, which one has got the most or the largest number of alkyl substituents. Okay, so here this compound 2-propene will be having the largest number of alkyl substituents. So this is the Zaitsev's rule. Next we can go through the Hofmann's rule. Second one, Hofmann's rule. See here, already I had told you this Hofmann's rule, it can be applied in charged substrates, isn't it? It can be applied in charged substrates, and also you have to write the statement also. You should not write the statements of these rules in your own sentence. It is not good for writing the statements in our own words. You have to write the statement as such while you are writing a rule. Okay. And also here in the case of Hofmann's rule, the statement is like this: the charged substrates in elimination reaction predominantly yield the least substituted alkene. The least substituted alkene. That means the one carrying minimum number of alkyl groups around the multiple bonds. Okay, so just Hofmann's and Zaitsev are just the opposite cases. In Hofmann's, neutral substrates and also the most substituted alkene will be the product, and in Hofmann's it will be followed in charged substrates, and also the least substituted alkenes will be the product. Let us go through one example. So you have to stress this particular point, least substituted, and the other one, the most substituted alkene. Okay. You have to write the statement also. Then going to the example. CH3, CH2, CH, CH3, then S plus CH3 twice. Okay, in the presence of RO minus, in the presence of an alkoxide. Okay, so here two chances are there, that is at this position the bond can be broken. Okay, that means minus CH3 twice S will be eliminated, and also one hydrogen atom. This is one of the first carbon atom, or this is the alpha carbon atom, and from this position one hydrogen can be eliminated. Okay, so from this position one hydrogen can be eliminated and it will be abstracted by this RO minus. Okay, so this CH3 twice S will be eliminated, minus CH3 twice S eliminated, so that this carbon will be getting a positive charge, and hydrogen will be eliminated from this position, so this becomes negative. There a bond is formed. That is one product. Okay, so the first product is CH3, CH2, single bond CH. Here it becomes double bond CH2. I am writing it in a straight way, in a straight J. Okay, CH3, CH2, single bond CH, double bond CH2. This is one product, or else there is another product, that is SCH3, and also this is the carbon which is attached to the functional group, isn't it? And again hydrogen can be eliminated from this position. Okay, this proton can be abstracted by this RO minus from this position. So what happens here? It becomes CH3, CH, double bond, CH, CH3. Okay, this proton, it can be eliminated from the third carbon atom, or we can say that this is the second chance. Okay, so in the first case hydrogen can be eliminated from this position, and in the second case hydrogen can be eliminated from this carbon atom. So the product will be CH3, here it becomes CH, double bond CH, CH, double bond CH, single bond CH3. So here we obtained two products. The first one, that is 4 carbon atoms. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. The compound is 1-butene. 1-butene. And the second one, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 2-butene. So what about the Hofmann's rule? The product will be the least substituted alkene, or the major product will be the least substituted alkene. So here the least substituted alkene is 1-butene. So the major product will be 1-butene 74%, and the minor product will be 2-butene 26%. Okay, so this is the Hofmann's product. Hofmann's product. So the major product will be 1-butene and the minor product will be 2-butene. So this is a charged substrate. See, the substrate has got a positive charge. Okay. So for charged substrates, the least substituted alkene will be the product. So don't get confused with Zaitsev and Hofmann's. For Zaitsev, neutral substrates are considered, and also in that case the most substituted alkene will be the product. And in the case of Hofmann's, it occurs in charged substrates and the least substituted alkene will be the product. Then next we can write one more example for Hofmann's elimination. One more example is also given in your textbook. Second example. CH3, N, CH3, CH2, CH3, CH2, CH2, CH3. Okay, in presence of OH minus, presence of a strong alkali, and also heat. So this is also a charged substrate. This nitrogen has got a positive charge. So here elimination can take place in two ways. That is, in the first case, at this position the bond breaks. Okay, so what about the product? The product will be, at this position the bond breaks and one hydrogen will be abstracted from this carbon atom. Okay, so I am writing the CH2H, CH3 as CH2H. Okay, so the products will be, so if this bond breaks, what happens? The electron pair will be moving to the nitrogen atom and the charge will be neutralized. So the product will be CH3, N, CH3, then CH2, CH2, CH3 plus what is the major product? See here at this position bond breaks, so it becomes CH2 double bond CH2. This hydrogen will be eliminated as H plus. Okay, hydrogen will be eliminated as, or hydrogen will be abstracted by this OH minus. So that is one product, that is CH2 double bond CH2. Okay, plus water molecule. This is one product. Then what is the another chance? What is the next chance and the next probability that I am writing it in reading? Okay, so the next chance is that the bond breaks at this position. Okay, so this blue ink, it is the first product or the first chance. This red ink is the second chance. And here at this position the bond breaks, so it becomes CH3 N CH3, then CH2 CH3. Okay, then what about the remaining portion? One proton will be abstracted, and the proton will be abstracted from this carbon atom. Okay, hydrogen will be eliminated as H plus. So here it becomes CH3 CH double bond CH2. Hope you are clear. So this is the first chance. I am writing it as number 1. And again number 2, the second chance, the bond breaking. That means at this position the bond will be broken. So the product will be CH3N, CH3, CH2, CH3. Okay, CH3N, CH3, then CH2, CH3. I am writing it as such. Okay, plus what about the major product? CH3, from this position H plus will be eliminated, so it becomes CH3 CH double bond CH2. CH3 CH double bond CH2 plus water. Okay, so these are the two products formed as a result, and also here you have to apply the Hofmann's rule. So according to Hofmann's rule, what will be the major product? The least substituted alkene will be the major product. Okay, so in the first case, see here, the major product is this one, ethylene. Okay, and this particular product is 2% only. That means this type of bond breaking will not be happening so easily. So this product will be only 2%, and the first case the product will be, this type of reaction will be taking place, and the major product or the Hofmann's product will be ethylene. Okay, so this is the second example stating this Hofmann's rule. Okay, so this type of reaction will be taking place. This reaction is also going on, but only 2% will be the product. But in the first case, 98% will be the product. So these are the two examples for Hofmann's elimination reaction. Okay. Then in the next class, we have to go through this elimination versus substitution reaction, that is SN1 versus E1 and SN2 versus E2, and also some of the factors affecting these reactions. Okay. So thank you for now and have a nice day.